Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to my next Hot Docs 2014 review. Right now I'm going to be reviewing Hotline, which I saw today. And this movie was directed by Hotline, Tony Shaff. It was an American documentary. And oh my god. Okay, first thing I have to say is stay tuned again because I got an incredible Q&A at this as well, and this is it's going to take me hours to upload this again, so this review will be going up beforehand. But do come back and check it out because there is a special guest. Should I tell you who it is? Okay, I'll tell you who it is. It's Miss Cleo. Do you remember Miss Cleo? Those of you who are here in North America, I'm sure you will remember, who are of a certain age, I guess. But for those of you who don't know, Miss Cleo was this psychic hotline. She was on these psychic hotline commercials that usually came on late at night, and she was like this Caribbean woman, and she'd always say, "Call me now, call me now," and it was just so funny. Her commercials were so funny. But anyway, she was there, and she was embroiled in this whole legal controversy that she was sued, and the company she worked for was sued. But it was like, anyway, that's a whole other story. But she was part of the movie. She was one of the people interviewed in the movie, and she was at the Q&A. So that was really, really cool. And I got footage of that. So yeah, call me now. Call me now. Okay, so anyway. So this movie was all about hotlines. It was all about, like, suicide hotlines, phone sex lines, what else? I guess that's basically, 911, you know, any place people call where they want to talk to somebody, basically, right? And it was really, really good. I found it really, really interesting. And especially, I have to say, two of the phone sex people who were interviewed in this, I just found fascinating. These two women. One of them, she has her own phone sex business. I forget what it's called. But anyway, she was really, really cool. And she was talking about, like, all these characters that she plays and, you know, giving her clients, you know, that service, you know, giving them what they want and stuff like that. And then the other one was talking about her, you know, her interactions with her clients. And a lot of these people were asked about, you know, whether they get involved with their clients, you know, offline, whether they actually, you know, meet up with them. And they said yes. And one of them told a pretty interesting story. That's getting a bit further ahead. The suicide hotline people were also really interesting. There was this one guy who was so cool. This guy, he was so rock and roll. I love this guy. He had this big afro. He was a white guy. He had like a big afro. He's got big muscles. He's wearing these like rock t-shirts. He was wearing this Thin Lizzy t-shirt. He's got the mustache. He's got the glass. He looked so fucking cool, this guy. And somebody I totally want to hang out with, you know? And, but he was one of these guys who worked on one of these, like, mental health, hotlines. Actually, I think he said he was a mobile mental health worker or something like that. And he dealt with people who were really disturbed. Like, we're talking psychotics, schizophrenics, you know, people who are really, really mentally disturbed. And if a call would come in, I guess, to a center, his job would be to go out to a hospital or wherever they were and talk to them and stuff like that. And so these people were also talking about, you know, interacting with people that they spoke to on these lines, you know, people who called in saying that they're going to kill themselves, and, you know, people who are talking about how depressed they are and stuff like that. I can imagine, you know, if you're doing a job like that, if you get somebody who, like, you know, regularly calls you, and I guess a lot of these people do, you know, a lot of these people have nobody else, right? They have nobody else to reach out to, so they call these hotlines. So they must have a lot of these repeat callers. And if you talk to somebody more than once, if you talk to somebody numerous times, it would be pretty hard not to get, you know, emotionally attached to them. Now, whether you meet them or not, that's something else. But, you know, these people said, yeah, I've gotten into relationships with people I've talked to over this line. So this guy did, the rock and roll guy did, and, you know, other people did. How can you not, you know? When you're talking about, you know, things that are so intimate. And then there was this other guy who was really cool. He was in New York City. And this guy's story was so great. He was talking about how he had just gone through this terrible breakup, and he was severely depressed. And the only thing he could think to do because he wanted to talk to people. He wanted to connect with people. I guess he felt very alone. And I guess he wanted to reach out and help other people who felt as depressed as he did. So he started putting up these flyers on poles around New York City. I think his name was Jeff, and he called himself the Lonely Guy. And he just put something on his flyer like, do you feel like talking to somebody? You have nobody else to talk to? Give me a call. Like a really simple flyer. And, he put his phone number, left like things you could tear off for his phone number. And he said he was just absolutely flooded with calls. This guy got bombarded with calls, and it went viral. I mean, I think now he's written a book called Jeff the Lonely Guy about all the people who some of the people who've called into him. And he says, like, he really feels, like it's not something he takes lightly. Like, he said, I think he was saying, like, he has like 700 calls to answer in any given day. And of course he can't get to all these people, and he feels really bad because he wants to talk to each and every one of them, I think people who do this kind of work have to have a certain personality, and that's the kind of person you have to be to do this work. You have to be somebody who truly cares about other people. And I think also one thing they were saying is that the people who are drawn to do this work, and a lot of them are volunteers, a lot of them do this free of charge just because they want to. And they were saying that, most of the people who do this do it because they come from their own background of going through depression and probably suicidal thoughts and who knows, maybe even suicide attempts, right? And they want to help people. They want to help people who have been in their spot, There was another guy from a gay and bisexual, lesbian, transgender hotline, and he was talking about how he was saying that when he talks to somebody on the phone, it's like talking to himself 20 years ago. So they can really relate to all their callers. And I think in order to be in that kind of work, you really have to have that kind of empathy and compassion for people. I've thought about doing it, actually. I've thought about volunteering for one of these phone lines. Haven't really looked into it seriously yet, but I may look into it. I don't know. I actually, I was doing some tarot phone work for a while. Because I don't know, some of you know, I'm a tarot card reader. I love tarot cards. So I was working a tarot phone line for a brief while. The money was just terrible, so I stopped doing it. But, it's kind of a cool interaction that you have. People are calling you. They want to know. Well, especially people who call psychics, phone psychics. And this is where Miss Cleo came in. She was talking about how she has her own business now. And what she was doing when she started with this company that got sued. She was like their most popular tarot reader, phone tarot reader. And everybody was calling in and asked her to talk to her. So that's how she ended up being their spokesperson. They asked her to be their spokesperson. And so she ended up getting sued as a byproduct of that. People sued her because she was the spokesperson, mistakenly thinking that she ran the company, but she didn't. So it was really the company who was, I don't know if they were bilking people or whatever. But anyway, now she works for herself. I guess she has her own phone line. And, she was talking about how people call in, and this is what I found, too, when I was doing the tarot phone readings. I got one question every time. Does he love me? Does she love me? Is my ex going to come back to me? Are they cheating? Is he or she cheating? Are they going to ask me out? It was always something love-related. I don't think I got one question that was not love-related. Granted, I didn't do it for that long, maybe a couple of months, but, it really seemed to be a trend there. So I think mostly, those are the kind of questions that they get on those lines. But, this was a really, really, really interesting movie with a lot of interesting people and a lot of interesting stories. I really thought those phone sex girls were cool, especially that one. Okay, the story she told when she got involved with this client, he was her client for a while on the phone, and then they met up one day, and I guess they got into a little relationship. They were intimate and everything, but it was casual. It wasn't serious. They just saw each other from time to time. Anyway, she said that one time she was near his town. She was passing through, called him and said, "Hey, I'm around. You want to get together?" And he was like, all of a sudden, he was like really cold towards her and saying, "No, I don't have time right now. I'll get back to you later," or something like that. So then she said, when she checked her computer the next day, he'd send her an email saying, "Don't IM me, Don't message me. Don't this, don't that. If you ever need to talk to me, just call my office. Because apparently he was with somebody. Turned out he had a girlfriend or wife or whatever. And she had seen, I guess, her website or maybe a message or something from her, was asking him, who's this girl? So, yeah, she said she felt really hurt by that because he really just dropped her completely like a hot potato after that. And she said she realized, you know, getting emotionally involved with a client probably isn't always a good idea because, you know, you think of them as really people who care about you, but it turns out that they really just view you as this sex object as you are on the phone to them, right? So anyway, it was a really, really, really interesting movie. I enjoyed it a lot. And like I said, please stay tuned for the Q&A because you will not be disappointed. Miss Cleo speaks. She was asked a couple of questions and she's something else. So, yeah, I would give this movie 2 thumbs up. I don't know if you're going to be seeing it or not. It may come on TV. Look for it on the internet, you know, Google it, whatever. I hope you get a chance to see it because it was really entertaining. And I enjoyed it very much. So, that is my review of Hotline. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.